So if you see, the installation is done. Okay, and you should not get any error here. Okay, so if the kubectl is not proper, then this here you'll get error if the kubectl version is not proper. And if you see, it says saved kube config as this one. Okay, so I'll explain what it is, but let's go to our GUI. Okay, and search for EKSCTL or EKS, I mean. Okay, if you see, the cluster is created and we can see it from the GUI as well. Status is active, version is 1.30, and my cluster. And so there are various options given here, but we need to go here, compute. Okay, so if you see in the compute, it says it has created a node group. There is only one node group. Okay, the name is standard workers. Okay, desired is it will have two nodes always. Okay, so both the nodes are ready. So if you see at the backend, it is creating two EC2 instances. Okay, T3 medium. Okay, T2 micro will not work. The number of pods limitation is there. Okay, because there is only one CPU in T2 micro, and Kubernetes needs at least two CPUs. Okay, so if you see, a node group is created and two VMs are created at the backend, it will be shown in the compute. And if you go to the EC2 instance, okay, and if you see instances running, okay, we'll see one of them is our DevOps VM, which is our Bastion host or a jump host, and other two are our worker nodes. Okay, so this AWS has done it for us. Okay, but it's patching and all or upgradation or and all we have to do. And remember, these are the worker nodes, not the master nodes. Okay, master nodes we cannot see, that is maintained by AWS itself. That's why it is called as managed service. Okay, so EKS is managed service. And now how to connect it? Remember, on this DevOps VM, which is our Bastion host or a jump host, we have not installed Kubernetes cluster. Using this VM, we have installed a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and if you see, it has saved kube config at this location. Let's go here, ls-ld. Okay, this file is created, okay, by EKSCTL itself. So if I go inside that file, cd.kube, okay, I'll see a config file, and this config file has all the authentication details which are required to connect to the cluster and work. Okay, so this is one of the private key, okay, which is with us. Okay, and this file is quite important. If anyone get access to it, they can access the cluster. Okay, and if I copy this config file on any other VM, okay, and if it is in same network as that of our Kubernetes EKS cluster, okay, then also we can access it. Okay, so the main thing is always get a config file, okay, on any VM which has internet connectivity and connectivity to that EKS cluster network. Copy it in .cube as a config file, and then using this kubectl get nodes. Okay, this is one of the command we are interacting with it. Okay, so it is saying that both the nodes are ready now. This means our authentication is working. So here the AWS authentication which we used for creating S3 buckets or something like that, that will not work. Here only the kube config for interacting with the cluster, the kube config configuration will work. Okay, which is at this location. Due to this entry, we are able to interact with the cluster. We'll be seeing more commands, kube config. Okay, with this file only we are able to connect and run some commands using kubectl. So now we'll be using only kubectl to create our applications and all. Okay, so -o wide, okay, it will give some more information. So if you see, it has created a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, version it is giving, internal IP, external IP. In production we'll be disabling these external IPs. Okay, and it is using a container runtime, container D. Okay, as I said, worker node has a container runtime. Okay, and here it is using container D, not Docker. Its version is also given, and which OS image it is using, Amazon Linux 2. Okay. So these are the details of kubectl nodes. When we do kubectl get all, it will show what is running. So as of now, only the Kubernetes service is running, and we haven't learned about namespaces, but there are some segregation for services and all, so that will show in the namespace. Kubectl get namespace. So if you see kube system, kube public, node lease, and default, we are in a default namespace now. Okay, and if you want to get the details of what are the pods or what are the containers running in particular namespace, we'll use -n get all will give everything, all the details. So it is showing some pods are running. Okay, these are created when we did the installation of Kubernetes. Okay, so every time we'll see pod, service, okay, daemon set, or deployment and replica sets. Okay, so all these details we are getting here. We can also get the details of pods. Okay, so these are the pods, only pods means the first part it will show this much. Okay, so pods means these are the containers running in a kube system namespace created at the time of installation used by Kubernetes itself. So kube proxy, if you remember, one of the service. Okay, so one of the internal service, one more it is using is core DNS. Okay. And if I want to get only deploy, okay, what is deploy pod and all, I'll let you know. So it is only one deployment. What are the services? We can get this details service, but remember we are getting the details of namespace in kube system. Okay, so we got the details of service. If I do all this command now, get all, in default namespace nothing is there. When we do not use -n, that means we are in a default namespace, and we'll get all the details of default namespace. In default namespace we do not have anything. Okay, so if I do get pods, it will not show anything. Okay, and if I do -a in uppercase, it will show pods of all the namespaces. Okay, so as of now only kube system has some pods. Okay, so it is giving pods of all the namespaces. Okay, so this was all about the installation of Kubernetes, that is EKS